Welcome on into the show. This is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm your consumer advocate, Gary Nolan. With us today to help take care of your money is Gina Mazzadra. Gina is filling in for Ben. She has over 10 years' experience in retirement planning business, and she's a retirement income certified professional. Each week on the show, we talk about things that are really important, like wealth accumulation, asset protection, long-term care strategies, Social Security, and more. I'm going to tell you how to get the How to Retire blueprint in just a little bit. 800-380-8985. That's the phone number for the How to Retire Blueprint. And Gina is, of course, with Fuchs Financial. Let's say hi to Gina. Gina, how you doing today?
Hi, good. How are you?
I'm doing great. I understand Ben is on a river cruise, doing a little work
Yeah.
and a pleasure at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so he had a river cruise. We're waiting to hear how it was. It sounded, it looked like it was a nice trip. So we're excited to hear all about it next week, hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. Our big boss went on it, and I see pictures from Germany. So he must
Yeah,
have been cruising up and down that river in Germany, several rivers, from what I understand. Anyway,
yeah.
I'm sure a good time was had by all, and we get to stay here and hold down the fort, Gina. All right?
Exactly. Yep.
All right. All right, well, let's get going. So we hear about the good old days and how things were better. Well, hang on. We're going to crack that old trope wide open in the 21st century. Here's the first one let's talk about. And these, are better than the good old days, I guess we should say. Increased awareness and accessibility. What do we mean by that, Gina?
Right. So there's growing emphasis on financial literacy and retirement planning. With abundant resources available online through employers. So this makes it easier to understand the importance of saving and finding suitable investment options. So a lot of times you also see advisors, have advisors. Sorry. A lot of employers have advisors that can be a resource through your retirement plan, which is always helpful. But yeah, having the 401ks as an option to contribute kind of emphasizes the fact that people should be putting away a portion of their money into those accounts from their paycheck directly, so that it's not even being seen in their income. It's just going straight into a savings for their future self.
When it comes to financial literacy, I like to call it a knowledge transfer. That's what you guys do for your clients. It's not
Yeah.
just all nuts and bolts and money and you invest in this, invest in that. I mean, you like to, teach them and
Yeah.
bring them along with you, right?
Yeah,
So to
yeah,
speak.
yeah, exactly. It's whole planning. It's not so much focused on, investment, stock picking. That's not really our focus here. It's about, what types of accounts do we want to hold, what types of investments, how do we draw down on the accounts when we get to retirement, and we kind of help people with their spending too. How do we spend our money that we've been saving for our whole lives? So that's the fun
Yeah.
part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell them how not to spend.
How to spend.
Or how to spend.
Yeah.
Some clients, if I understand, they
Well,
don't spend enough money. And
so
you got to tell them to spend, right? It's
so
okay to spend more money, right?
some we tell not to spend as much. Some, well, not that we like to say that, but so we have to
Yeah,
talk
of
about
course.
expenses, and then others, we have to encourage, yeah, it's okay to spend this money. This is what it's here for.
Sure, absolutely. Let's talk about technological advances. How does that impact today's retirees?
Yeah, so investing is more accessible than ever. So thanks to online platforms and robo advisors that offer low cost investment options and automated portfolio management, this simplifies the process and reduces barriers for entry for new investors. So if you've never invested before, it's really easy to just go online and set up an account and start doing it.
Yeah, and I think in the early days of your investing, robo advisors are good. When it comes down to when it gets complicated, you're a couple of years out, you're going to start drawing down. That's when you need somebody like you guys. Am I right?
Yeah, I think when you're close to retirement, it's important to have a person to talk to because it's not a black and white issue. It's not X, Y, and Z. It's more complicated than just having everything laid out flat for you. You have to really go into detail on, what do you have saved? What are you spending? What's the income look like? And going through questions that you might not necessarily think about, like, are you planning on having long-term care insurance, or do you need life insurance? Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, but it's important to go through all of those questions to figure out what you need.
All right, let's go to our next point we want to make, employer-sponsored plans. What does that mean, Gina?
Many employers offer 401k plans with matching contributions. So essentially, the contributions you get from the employer is as close to free money as you're ever going to get for retirement. So these plans often provide a range of investment options and make saving an automatic thing through your payroll deductions. So it's important to, you can contact your HR and figure out what your benefits are, what the match would be. But it's important to at least get that match because, again, that's as close to free money as you can get.
Yeah.
You don't want to give that up. So, it will add up over retirement. And then when you have it invested, it's going to hopefully go up in value from there.
Right. No question about that. Yeah. Get the match and take the match. Find out what your match is. If you don't know, contact your HR department. They'll set you up with that 401k for your particular situation. All right. How about the next one? Tax advantage accounts.
So tax deferred retirement accounts like 401ks and IRAs allow your investments to go tax free until retirement. So that's significantly boosting your savings potential. So basically, you put the money in directly from your payroll into the 401k or IRA. You don't pay taxes on it up front. You pay taxes later when you go to take it out. So when you are retired, you're going to pay, your state income tax and the federal income tax when you go to draw down on it. But it grows over the years tax free. Now that's opposed to a Roth account where you pay the taxes when you put the money in, and then it grows tax free and you take the money out without paying any taxes. So two opposite ends there, but both are good tools to use in retirement. If you're lower income, it might be worth it to put the money into a Roth because you're in a lower tax bracket most likely. So you pay the taxes up front, you let it grow tax free, and then when you go to draw it out, even the growth on it, you don't pay taxes on. So that's huge benefit.
Yeah. And that's a great and that's a strategy that you and Ben will sit down and determine whether or not Roth is right for you at that particular time, where you are on your time horizon and everything, right,
Yeah,
Gina?
exactly. Yep.
I like this one: gig economy flexibility. What do you mean by that?
So the rise of gig economy offers opportunities to supplement your income and increase retirement savings through freelance work or part-time jobs. So you have a side gig.
Right.
That's what they're saying.
Side hustle.
Yeah, exactly. So, you get a little extra income on the side doing whatever, I don't know, something you enjoy, hopefully. And, you supplement your income with that, have it be your grocery money, your gas money, some spending money. But it allows you to put more money, hopefully, in your primary job away for retirement so that maybe you can save a little from the payroll deduction. And then you have this as some additional spending.
Yeah, my brother-in-law is a great cook and he's a great chef, and he loves to cook. He works for Toyota. He's a service writer for Toyota, but he always wanted to open a restaurant or do something on the side like that. So he got himself a little food truck, and he works on the weekends doing his food truck. So there,
that sounds so cool.
That's his passion. That's exactly what he loves to do, and find that side gig. But it's got to be something you really enjoy, Gina. Am I right? I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, best case scenario, yeah, that would be great. But the food truck thing sounds, and that's so popular nowadays too. Everyone goes to food trucks.
They're all over the place.
Yeah.
All right. How about this one? We're living longer in the 21st century, longer lifespans. That's good news, right?
Yeah. So, while increasing longevity requires saving more, it also provides more time to accumulate wealth and potentially benefit from compound interest. So living longer maybe means potentially working a little bit longer and delaying taking from our retirement savings a little bit longer, right? So they all kind of fall into place that way.
Right. Well, one thing that happens too that's not so good is rising costs, Gina, in the 21st century.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that a minute.
Inflation and increasing healthcare costs can erode value of savings, so requiring more diligent planning and potentially higher contributions. I think the historic average right now, like the 110-year historic average of inflation is like 3.27%, which is kind of a problem because when you compare that to the cost of living adjustment that you're getting from Social Security, like the COLA adjustment for Social Security, 10-year average is 2-point-something%. So inflation's higher, and that's where we want to pay attention and maybe do a little more diligent planning around what we can do to offset the inflation.
So we're going to have some fun here on the program today. You remember reading comic books growing up? Because Gina's really young. She doesn't remember any of this. Okay.
I didn't
But
read
we
comic
watched, us retirees or pre-retirees, watched Adam West on Batman. Remember Christopher Reeve's Superman? How about those Marvel movies Well, it's no surprise we like superheroes as represent so many good things and maybe even some good retirement strategies. See, these fantastic characters can actually teach us about finance too. Here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to transport everyone to the Fortress of Solitude. We'll talk about superheroes and their individual styles can get your money right. Take a look at the roster right now. Gina, some of these are before your time, but I know you've probably seen a lot of the Marvel movies. I'm sure you have.
Yeah, some of them I was never super in. Yeah, I was never super into superheroes, but I know a little here and there about them.
Of course, everybody knows about
Yeah,
Superman. And Superman means starting early and being consistent. Let's talk about the symbolism and the retirement planning strategies for that, Gina.
right. So start saving early. Beginning retirement savings early in your career leverages the power of compounding interest, allowing your investments to grow significantly over time, and being consistent. So regular, consistent contributions and into your retirement accounts build a strong financial foundation. So the key with consistency is if you're contributing to a 401k plan, you're putting money from your paycheck in on a regular basis, say probably bi-weekly, weekly, monthly, whatever it is. You're putting money in and investing it into those same mutual funds, whether the market is high or low. So that's called dollar cost averaging. So it's a huge benefit to be consistent putting money away into those type of plans.
Let's move on to Batman. What does Batman symbolize? It's diversification and preparation. We all know about I'm Batman. I love the way he talks. I'm Batman.
So apparently Batman is not a superhero. He's just a regular billionaire who works out a lot and wears black latex and beats people up at night.
I love that.
He's not like Superman. He can't fly. He can't take bullets. He has to rely on the technology and intelligence and preparation to win. So he has to diversify and use tools at his disposal. Does this sound familiar?
Yes, it does. Yeah, let's talk about retirement planning strategies, Gina.
Yeah, so, all right. So it's like diversifying investments. So spreading investments across various asset classes. So stocks, bonds, real estate, it mitigates some risk. So you're not, it's part of not holding all your eggs in one basket, different asset classes. And then thorough preparation. So developing a comprehensive retirement plan that accounts for different scenarios. So, part of what we do here is we want to figure out how much income do we need in retirement. We focus on what do we need to do to generate that income. Then, well, what if the market drops? We still need income. You still need income to live on because that's covering your expenses in retirement. So what bucket are we going to pull from should the market drop? So it's preparing for different scenarios to happen. And in retirement, it's not the time to take a ton of risk. We're not trying to double or triple what we have saved. We're trying to generate income, be conservative, have a safety bucket, a safety net to fall back on in case of emergency. Because, like I said, even though the market's, if it were to drop, you still need to pull income from somewhere. So where is that going to be coming from?
Absolutely. The next one is Spider-Man, responsibility and regular reviews. There's been a bunch of Spider-Mans over the years. And how does that relate to retirement planning? What's the symbolism there?
So Peter Parker is the most positive and proactive guy on the list. He just wants to protect the Big Apple and be a friendly neighborhood superhero. That's because he took Uncle Ben's advice to heart. With great power comes great responsibility. So what happens when you combine responsibilities of planning for the future with the amazing agility and responsiveness of Spidey, the infamously agile wall crawler? I think you can see where this is going.
What about retirement planning strategies there?
So taking responsibility for your financial future. So actively engaging in planning and managing your retirement savings. So, being cognizant of how much you're putting away. If you're working and you find that, you have this excess income and you're wondering, what do I do with this excess income? I don't really want to spend it. I want to do something with it. It's building up in your savings account. Maybe you go online and you change your 401k contributions to be a little bit higher because you can contribute up to that $20,500 before 50. And then if you're 50 and over, you have that additional $30,500 that you can end up contributing for the year total. So, adjusting and being cognizant of what your income is, if it's covering your expenses, if you want to be putting away a little bit more and you have the ability to do that, then knowing how to do it.
We have at least one or two more to go, Gina.
Okay.
This is one of my favorite because I love the whole character here. Iron Man, Tony Stark, Robert Downey Jr. Let's talk about that.
All right, so Tony Stark is the man. Robert Downey Jr. really captures his spirit. He's the guy who knows how to innovate, how to push the envelope, and is the most stylish way in the most stylish way possible. So he's also like Batman. He's not a superhero. He's just a regular billionaire who puts on metal armor and that can make him fly away while he fights crazy aliens. I mean, the guy is always upgrading so he can win. So how do we upgrade? How do we get out of our comfort zone to rise and meet the challenges of a changing world?
All right, let's talk about the retirement planning strategy for that particular character,
Right.
Gina.
So leveraging tools like robo-advisors, online investment platforms, and financial apps. So, having the app on your phone for where your assets are held can make it really nice. So, if you see some changes that you want to adjust, it's just right at your fingertips on your phone. It makes things very simple and streamlined. And then staying informed and innovative, keep abreast of the new investment opportunities and retirement products. So, again, just keeping yourself informed and knowing when it's time to make some adjustments as your life evolves, and just being cognizant of, trying to save more when you can, and, knowing what you need to do to make changes.
All right, let's squeeze one more in. Captain America, discipline and long-term vision. Let's talk about Captain America.
Yeah, so Captain America is the guy on this list who always stands on business. I mean, he reps an entire country. He is Team USA all the way. He volunteered to become a genetically modified super soldier for Uncle Sam because he believed so much in America and the future of his country. This man is always about fighting for the greater good and postponing his emotional needs and immediate gratification. So are you fighting for the greater good wherever you spend your money?
Yeah. What about that?
All right. So having discipline in savings and spending. So sticking to a budget and maintaining disciplined savings habits, long-term planning. So focus on long-term financial goals rather than short-term market trends. So, part of what I like to say sometimes to myself is, I'm putting all this money away into my 401k plan, but it's for, 65-year-old Gina, not today Gina. So focusing on long-term, whether it's 5 years out, 10 years out, whether it's 2 years out even, but just focusing on long-term, what you need to do to save that money and put it away, and making sure that your expenses are within reason for what your income is.
All right, terrific. There you go. Gina's got to brush up on her superhero movies now after this segment.
Yeah.
Right, Gina?
Yeah, exactly.
All right, let's get going. So with rising inflation, market volatility, longer lifespan, retirees are more concerned than ever about securing a stable income for their golden years. Now, according to AARP, nearly 50% of retirees fear outliving their savings. Annuities, often misunderstood, can offer guaranteed lifetime income, tax-deferred growth, and even inflation protection. Today, we'll explain how annuities work, bust some common myths, and show you how you can benefit from annuities, especially in times of economic uncertainty. All right. So we have a bunch of questions, Gina, that we're going to pose to you. Here's the first one. With AARP reporting 50% of retirees worry about outliving their savings, how does an annuity help provide guaranteed lifetime income, Gina?
Yeah, so annuities can offer guaranteed lifetime income, providing peace of mind regardless of how long you live. So unlike relying solely on investments, which can fluctuate, annuities ensure a fixed stream of payments. For someone who retires at 65 and lives until 90, annuities can cover essential living expenses for long after the investments might have run dry.
All right. Okay, so given that inflation hit a 40-year high in 2022, how do annuities help protect against rising costs in today's economy?
So some annuities, particularly inflation-linked annuities or index annuities, adjust payments based on inflation or market performance, so ensuring your income rises with the cost of living. This protects your purchasing power. So a real concern with inflation averaging around 3% annually. So basically, as opposed to if you want to have a safe bucket of money and you don't want to keep it in your savings account, getting what 0.02% rate of return. Something
Right.
like an index annuity can, as the market goes up, you go up, just not as much. Market goes down, and you stay level. So it helps counter inflation in that way because it has some market adjustment with it. So it does help counter some of the rising costs that we see today.
Why do annuities get a bad rap? I mean, is it just certain types of
Well,
annuities that aren't good, Gina?
so there's thousands of different types of annuities, different companies that they're held at. One thing that we want to be aware of is that you don't really you can only access a portion of that money per year. So
Right,
if you
right.
put you want to only put enough in that you won't need access to right away. So you can take out about 10% per year from annuities. You don't want to put in more if you're going to need access to it. So if you see yourself needing to make some big purchase at some point in the near future, you don't want to take that savings and put it into an annuity because you're not going to be able to get to it. It's not going to be as easily accessible. You'll have to pay a surrender charge to take it out. So what it's good for is if you have a lump sum of savings cash that you want to keep safe, but you also want to see it grow a little bit more than what the typical savings is getting.
Right, right. It's not nearly as liquid as some other investments, but then again, it's not designed to be so. I understand you depends on the annuity. Somewhere around 10% or so you're allowed to take out each year. Is that right? Did
Yeah,
you hear Gina too?
10% per year is what you can
Right,
take
right,
out. So,
right,
there's a time and a place for them. They're not for everybody, but they are good, useful tools for retirement planning.
right. And a lot of people have problems with the variable annuities because some of them have high fees. Am I right?
Yeah, exactly. So
All right, cool.
that is
Yeah.
the main problem with the variable annuities is the high fees with those.
Our next question, with Fidelity noting that tax-deferred investments can grow significantly over time, how does tax-deferred growth of annuities compare to other retirement vehicles, Gina?
So annuities offer tax deferred growth, allowing your investments to compound without immediate tax consequences. So this means your money grows faster over time compared to taxable accounts. So basically, you're putting the money in, you're not paying taxes on it yet, which means it's a higher amount that you're putting in, which allows it to compound faster. Or more effectively. So it means your money's going to grow faster over time compared to the taxable accounts. You only pay taxes when you start withdrawing funds, which can significantly boost your retirement savings. So especially over 10 to 20 years. So you put in money. These are the types of accounts that we talked about earlier, the 401ks or the traditional IRAs, where you're putting the money in pre-tax. But you can do annuities with those pre-tax accounts as well. So a lot of
Right.
people get them confused, but it's an annuity is a product that you can use. It's not a type of account per se.
Right. You're putting the risk on the insurance companies when
hmm
it comes to annuities and not in the stock market, correct? I mean, is that one way of looking at it, Gina?
Right. It's a safe bucket. It's a safe bucket. So it's not going to
Hmm.
go down in value. It's backed by the insurance company. Well, some can go down in value, but the ones that we use here, we don't use variable annuities. So, the market goes up, you go up not as much. Market goes down, and you stay level.
Yeah, they say zero is your hero right there because you can't lose your principal protection, which leads us to the next question. How do fixed annuities offer principal protection and why is that important in a volatile market, Gina?
So, in volatile markets like the one we've seen recently, fixed annuities protect your initial investment from downturns. According to NerdWallet, fixed annuities guarantee that your principal is safe, which makes them ideal for risk averse retirees who don't want to gamble on their nest egg on the stock market. So, it basically is allowing you to put the bulk of the savings in there or however much you're comfortable putting it into an annuity. Again, market goes up, you can go up, just not as much. And then when the market goes down, when that happens, you just don't lose anything. So it protects your principal value, and it allows you to just kind of have peace of mind that you're not going to lose the principal that you put in there.
When folks come in to see you and you mention annuities, do you have to lay it out to them exactly what they are and how they work? Are some familiar with them? Like I said, some get a bad rap. I mean, you bring up the word annuity and they don't really want to talk to you about it. I
Yeah.
mean, tell us about some experiences you've had with clients, you or Ben.
Oh yeah. So I've had people come in and immediately they say, I don't want to hear about annuities. I don't want to use an annuity. Say, okay. It's your call. It's
your money.
It's your money. It's your retirement. We can focus on what you want to focus on. But, I do still like to lay it out there that it is important to have a safe bucket. So whether it's in an annuity that's probably going to get a little bit more growth than a savings account, whether it's in a CD or just a savings, we still want to have a safe bucket, because if the market were to come down in retirement, it's going to have a significant impact on you. So we want to have a safe bucket. Annuities are our preferred choice, depending on each individual situation. But because we know that it is going to get some growth. So, but yeah, absolutely. We do get some people come in and say that, they just don't want to know about annuity. They don't want to hear about it at all. And
Don't want to hear it.
yeah,
Go away from me.
Yeah,
Leave me alone.
Exactly.
All right, final question, Gina. Putting you on the spot here with these questions today. So with Forbes reporting that customizable financial products are key for today's retirees, how can annuities offer flexibility and payouts? Let's talk about payouts and annuities.
Yeah, so annuities are highly customizable. You can choose lump sum payouts, monthly payments, or even increased payouts over time to match your changing needs. The flexibility allows retirees to create a plan that fits their lifestyle and spending patterns, and ensuring income security even if expenses fluctuate throughout retirement. So it allows you to choose different things. One thing that we also have seen, if you have an income annuity, being able to choose a joint life payout. If you and your spouse want to both be able to get that income for life, you can use it. Some of them allow you to set it up somewhat like a pension, where you can choose 100% survivorship like you would with a pension, and say, well, if something happens to me, I want it to continue on to my wife and have her continue to get those income payments. And so they're customizable in that way.
Mm-hmm. So what's the conclusion, Gina? Tell everybody the conclusion when it comes to annuities.
Yeah, so in an economy marked by inflation, market swings, and uncertainty, annuities provide everyday retirees with security throughout. Security through guaranteed income. So guaranteed income, tax benefits, inflation protection. By understanding how annuities work, retirees can create a stable financial foundation and enjoy peace of mind regardless of economic conditions.
It is Q&A time, favorite part of the show. All right, let's get to our questions that came in to us from that phone number we just gave out. Hannah in Hebring. I'm recently divorced and retired. My ex-husband previously handled our financials. In the early 2017, after my divorce, I hired an investment manager to handle investments. Since my personal experience spans less than several years, I'm new to this. I'm wondering how I evaluate my portfolio performance compared to averages. Let's talk about this. What can we have for Hannah?
Yeah, so a basic thing you can do is you can look on, just Google S&P 500, and that's a typical benchmark that you can use. Now, if you're planning for retirement, you can probably expect that your rate of return is going to be lower, because S&P 500 is if you're looking at a risk score between 1 and 100, S&P 500 is around like a 75, 76 risk score. If you're nearing retirement, you're likely, hopefully, taking less risk, which means probably a lower rate of return. But if you want to just use a typical benchmark, that's one that you can use. And then what I would do is just contact your advisor that you work with and ask him questions. Ask him what you should be expecting from the certain types of investments that he's using in those accounts, and just try to have an open conversation. And again, we do offer reviews for people to come in and just get a second opinion. So if that's all you're looking for, we're happy to give a second opinion for you. But based on your risk tolerance, you want to just be aware that the rate of return may be lower than what the standard benchmarks are showing.
Right, particularly that you're retired. Again, what Gina said, you want to take less risk. Sounds like our investment manager is not doing a really good job of keeping her abreast, or keeping, that knowledge transfer that you guys talk about all the time, right? It doesn't seem like to be communicating terrific with Hannah, huh?
So something we try to do here is explain why we're doing things the way that we're doing them. So if you need clarification from them, I would just ask the advisor. No, it's straightforward. Just try to be blunt and ask straightforward questions and see what kind of response you're getting. And if you're not getting a response that's satisfying you or making sense to you, then maybe it's time to look at some different options. Mm-hmm. It's important to be knowledgeable and have someone teaching you what they're actually doing with your money.
Hannah, thank you so much for your question. Let's move on to Gary in Glastonbury. If I plan to buy mutual fund shares when the stock market drops, what strategies should I consider? Should I buy them after the closing bell, hours later, before the opening bell the next day, or is there any strategy I can consider? I'm not familiar with the strategy when it comes to buying mutual funds and stocks. Gina, is there a strategy for this?
Well, mutual funds are only going to show the prices at the end of the close each day. So they don't
Right.
trade actively throughout the day like an ETF or a stock does. Mutual funds, I don't know if you ever call your 401k company, but a lot of times if you call the 401k company and ask them for a balance, they're going to say, it's this value as of yesterday's close. And that's what they mean.
Right.
It's not actively traded throughout the day. So
Mm-hmm.
if you're, it's going to show after the 4 p.m. time. In terms of when to time selling or buying, I mean, that's not something we really can accurately do because we can't predict the future.
Right.
What we can say is that again, mutual funds don't trade throughout the day. They're only after market close that you're going to see the updates on the accounts. But trying to time the market is not where we excel because again, we don't have a crystal ball to be able to tell people what's going to happen at what time. I wish we did, but we don't. So we're not going to pretend to. Just to be fully transparent, we don't pretend to have some magic button that we can push to tell people when to buy what.
Well, it'd be nice if you did.
I know, yeah, it would be great. It would be
But
great.
no, I see what Gary's trying to figure out, and I guess it really doesn't matter. Just make the purchase when you want. At least you know that mutual funds. You have to wait till the end of the day to get the exact amount. Correct?
Yeah, you can buy them during the day or sell them during the day, but they're not going to show the value until the close of the market that day.
Right. Absolutely. All right. The show is How to Retire with Ben Fuchs. I'm your consumer advocate, Gary Nolan. Filling in is Gina Mazzadra. Gina is with Ben Fuchs for the last 3 years and is a retirement income certified professional, over 10 years experience in retirement planning business. I want you to get the How to Retire blueprint. Get yourself all set up. It's a confident plan to retire. You want to be stress-free. You want to be peace of mind. Nothing changes till you pick up the phone and dial that number. It's a comprehensive plan. It's a unique plan. If 10 people walked into Fuchs Financial, 10 people would come out with 10 different plans. That's the way it's worked. It's an individual plan just for you. All right, Georgie in Simsbury. I'm retired and have a portfolio with 40% stocks and 60% bonds using the U.S. and international index funds. Due to market volatility, I'm considering investment in an index annuity with 25 to 30% of my investment funds. Is an index annuity a good idea to include in my retirement portfolio? Well, Georgie just missed the last segment. We spent the whole time
Right.
talking about annuities. So why don't you add on to that, Gina, if you can?
Yeah, so basically, the index annuities, as the market goes up, you go up just not as much. Market goes down and you stay level so you don't lose anything. So yes, nearing retirement, I do think that they're a useful tool. How much we're putting into it is going to depend on how accessible you need that bulk of funds to be. So if you're seeing yourself needing access to, more than 10% of it in the next couple of years, then I'd say put a little bit less in. But if you really truly don't believe that you're going to need more than 10% of it, over the next several years, then yes, it is a good bucket to put into, have something safe where you know that the market's not going to affect it. You're going to protect your principal value while combating inflation. Overall, I do think that they're a good idea for the safe bucket of your portfolio. Yes.
So if you are considering, using index annuities, and Gina, what is the surrender fees if you need to access that money? Are surrender fees high? How does that work?
Yeah, so it depends on how long the annuity is supposed to last for. So basically, if you have an annuity that's for 10 years, every year the surrender charge goes down a little bit. So, by year 9, if you were to withdraw all of it, maybe the surrender charge is I don't know, only like 5% of what you have in there, where if you withdraw the entire balance earlier, it could be much higher. But basically, that's how the insurance companies protect themselves. So they don't want the market dropping and everybody drawing all of their money out of the annuity, because that would cause the insurance companies maybe to go under. So in order to protect themselves, they say, well, if you want to draw it all out this soon before your annuity matures, you're going to have to pay this surrender fee. So that's how they're able to back themselves.
Okay, that sounds good. All right, final question, Paul in Portland. How old should you be before you get life insurance? Interesting question from Paul. What do you think?
So there's really no predetermined age when it suddenly becomes necessary to take out a life insurance policy. However, if there are people who depend on your income, especially children or a spouse, there's a major benefit to taking out a policy when you're young. So yeah, if you have kids that you're supporting, and something were to happen to you, you need your kids or your family to be able to support themselves. Should you no longer be here? If they're relying on your income, you want to leave something behind to them that they know that they would still be protected somewhat, and have some sort of funds to live off of.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, if you have kids and you have a spouse, you really want to make sure you handle that, and that's something you could help folks with too. Am I right, Gina? When they come in.
Yeah. I mean, typically we focus on retirement planning, but yeah, if somebody needs life insurance policy, we are able to help with that as well. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And of course, the older you get, the more expensive it gets too. Am I right?
Yes. Yes. So yeah, if you're 60, your kids are grown, out of the house, your house is paid for, I don't think there's a lot of need for a life insurance policy at that point. It might be down to personal preference and how comfortable you are, should something happen to you. But at that point, I don't think it's as necessary as when you have, a younger family and a mortgage and all that comes along with it.
Hopefully you have other investments that can handle that situation when the time arises without purchasing an expensive life insurance policy when you're in your 60s or 70s, because it gets very, very pricey.
Right.
All right. Thanks to Hannah, Gary, Georgie, and Paul. Thank you for your questions. Gina, we're up against the clock. Final thoughts on how you can help listeners when they come in and meet with you.
Yeah, so we're very passionate about our belief that you deserve a confident and independent retirement. So that's why we keep a few openings on our calendar for listeners to sit down and get a free consultation or just a second opinion to review to put you on that right path. The consultation will determine how prepared you are for your portfolio to handle risk, inflation, market volatility, and taxation. You've worked hard for your money and will work just as hard to help you grow and preserve it. We often work with folks who have saved over $1 million for retirement, but if you're focused on building a retirement plan, then let's connect so that you can get a fact-based approach and better answers to your financial challenges and objectives.
Well, the show has flown right on by. I'd like to thank everyone for listening. Hope you found the information we presented helpful. Look forward to all of you being back next week. We'll have new topics and new questions right here on How to Retire and the return of Ben Fuchs, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Gina, a pleasure as always. Great talking with you and spending time with you. Go out and enjoy the weekend. We'll talk to you next week.
Oh, thanks, Gary. You too.
Investment advisory services are offered through Foundations Investment Advisors, LLC, hereafter known as Foundations, an SEC-registered investment advisor. The content provided is intended for informational and educational purposes only. The views, statements, and opinions expressed herein are those of the individual speakers and not necessarily those of Foundations and its affiliates. The information contained herein does not constitute an offer to sell any securities or represent an express or implied opinion or endorsement of any specific investment, opportunity, offering, or issuer. Any discussion of performance or returns is not indicative of future results. Any discussions of specific strategies are for informational purposes only and have been provided to help determine whether they may be appropriate for your specific situation. If applicable, the primary goal in converting retirement assets into a Roth IRA is to reduce the future tax liability on the distributions you take in retirement or on the distributions of your beneficiaries. Each individual investor situation is different, and ideas provided may not be appropriate for your particular circumstances. Foundations only transacts business in states where it is properly registered or is excluded or exempted from registration requirements. Registration as an investment advisor is not an endorsement of the firm by securities regulators and does not mean the advisor has achieved a specific level of skill or ability. Nothing herein constitutes a recommendation that any security, portfolio of securities, or investment strategy is suitable for any person. No legal or tax advice is provided. Please review your retirement, tax, and legacy planning strategies with a legal or tax professional before transacting or implementing any strategy discussed herein. Any comments regarding safe and secure investments and guaranteed income streams refer only to fixed insurance products. They do not refer in any way to investment advisory products. Rates and guarantees provided by insurance products and annuities are subject to the financial strength of the issuing insurance company, not guaranteed by any bank or the FDIC. This is not endorsed or affiliated with the Social Security Administration, any federal Medicare program, or any U.S. government agency. If applicable, we do not offer every plan available in your area. Any information we provide is limited to those plans we do offer in your area. Please contact Medicare.gov or 1-800-MEDICARE to get information on all of your options. All rights reserved.